in 2023 and 2024 and 2025 too, we as investors are going to be tested, and we're all going to have to raise our game, because it's not going to be as easy as it was. Not that it was ever easy, but I mean, we've had a very good run since 2012, I would argue, to 2022. So if you had bought at any given point in time there, you would have had some great upside potential and upside moves. And it's the same thing with the Airbnb kind of craze that happened, when the events of 2020 happened. I mean, Airbnbs just started to take off, and this has been an enormous opportunity. So a lot of people went into that. And if you were early, yeah, I mean, timing in life is critical. I would argue it's part of the success story, is the timing of it, right? So if you were in early, you saw some of that upside and you rode the wave. But that doesn't necessarily just require skill. Yes, you can position yourself and catch a wave, but a lot of people just stormed into a market, right, and rode the wave up. Well, you're going to need the different skill set as an investor in all types of assets, and especially these types of asset classes and niches to do well. So yeah, you're going to have to raise your skill set, your capabilities, your knowledge, and the tougher environment, by the way, that is here. It's not coming. It's here. Is going to force us all to become better investors. So people are going to be tested. So yeah, but to your point that you made earlier, to brush real estate with one broad stroke is not really fair. The same with Airbnb. While the majority of the market is getting decimated, there's a small niche that's not, and there's investors that are not. Then they're actually doing better than ever. It's fascinating how it works out in every single market that I've been a participant in, and just observe that when there's a bubble that pops and a bust, essentially, what this is, the majority of folks get flushed out and get really hurt, and a small group of folks always seem to just keep crushing it in those markets. I'll give you an example. We just talked about the Airbnb example, right? Where the majority of the market has been just smacked, but a small group of folks are doing extremely well. We saw this, by the way, about a year ago in crypto. So I don't think folks remember this, but right up into the run to the Super Bowl in 2022, crypto was plugging along nicely. And it was sort of the coming out moment, as like this thing at the Super Bowl for crypto, because the majority of ads were geared towards crypto, right?
And some of the players that were playing in the game were some of the spokesmen for that particular token. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you had, crypto.com and FTX, and who would ever forget the funny ads that Larry David, one of the creators and writers of Seinfeld, was in. So at that very moment when that happened, a lot of professionals in that space said, well, this is the top. This is, this is it. You got Matt Damon on ads. You've got Larry David promoting crypto. You have Tom Brady. You've got professionals. You've got celebrities, influencers. If this isn't a top, what is a top, right? So that was a very painful lesson for a lot of people in crypto, because at that moment where this kind of went mainstream and it got like a lot of attention at the Super Bowl, the professionals were getting out as the public came in for that final little run up, and then all of a sudden there was a rug pull. So it's fascinating. I mean, that's why I love this game so much. I love the investment game, because history doesn't necessarily repeat itself, but it sure does rhyme, that Mark Twain said. And you could see it, in different asset classes and different investments and different cycles. It's kind of the same themes repeating itself over and over.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What are you saying to investors right now that you're talking to that are either in your camp or, you're mentoring in some capacity, that want to get involved in real estate investing or have been, and now they're pumping the brakes? They want to sit on the sidelines and kind of see what happens. What do you tell them?
Yeah, Warren Buffett always said doing nothing is also doing something. So observation can be good, but there's opportunities there. Don't force anything right now. You're going to have to be smarter. You're going to have to be very strategic, and you're going to have to pick your spots. It's not that time, as you like to say, to get fancy. You're going to be cute. No time to get cute. It's not a time to be cute at all. So yeah, I mean, don't force anything. Because I see a lot of people, they're very anxious to do it. And I said, you just have to sit tight until it makes sense. The numbers make sense. And the deal makes sense. Then you move forward on it, but you don't have to force anything right now. That's the nice thing is, it's a good situation to be in if you have some capital, you have some liquidity set aside, which we've encouraged people to do, because you can be an observer and then jump in until it makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with that. Obviously, go in with caution, obviously doing your due diligence. But as an investor, I'm active right now. And to your point, there are deals to be had. So I know a couple things. I know that I can always go back and fix a mortgage rate, but I also know that I can't go back and fix the sale price of a home. So if I'm waiting on the sidelines for those mortgage rates to go down, call it 2%, but at that same time, that same property appreciates 5%, then I've lost that game, right? So I can always go back in and fix a mortgage rate. If I'm analyzing a deal right now, as it stands today with market conditions, with mortgage rates, with price of the home, all of these ingredients baked into it, if there is good meat on the bone today, that's a high enough of a yield to warrant me to deploy my capital, knowing that the deal is only going to get better if I do, a refinance, for example, when rates come back down and I can get that additional, 2-point savings and 100% of that's going to convert down to my net bottom line cash flow position, then I'm doing the deal today. Because if it looks good today and I know it's going to even look better in a year or two, why wouldn't I move forward? So, I hear you. I do subscribe to, that wait and see approach to a certain extent. Don't try and force a square peg into a round hole for sure. But if there's meat on the bone, take these deals down, guys. The competition is going to be less right now, so odds are you're not going to be overpaying. People that are in the market are going to be able to capitalize on these deals. It sounds like you kind of see things the same way, MC. So, guys, following the data, and you mentioned that it's a math problem. If you can follow the data, let data drive the decision and take all emotion out of it, 9 times out of 10, you're going to win with that. If you follow the math, you follow the data, you're more often than not going to come out on top.
Yeah, and I would say, and we've talked about this before on this channel, I kind of have an hypothesis of how things are going to play out from a big picture standpoint over the next couple of years. And unfortunately, I mean, the trends that are in motion aren't pretty. They're there. There's nothing I can do about it, but I can position myself for those trends. So one of the things that I've shared is I kind of see a Hunger Games society kind of evolving and happening. And it's happening in real time. So that's why it's very important to understand at which end of the market you're at, because there's going to be opportunities in all different types of markets in that Hunger Games society. But especially at the capital, there's going to be a lot of them, right? So to your point with like the luxury short-term rental space right now, I mean, there's so much demand for that. So yeah, if there's deals that make sense from the data that you can unemotionally just look at this, yeah, I mean, the competition is going to be so much less because people are fearful. Yeah, I mean, that would be a great time. But then just look at the big picture and the trends unfolding and turn those trends into opportunities. There's a lot of opportunities. You're going to have to make some tweaks in your business plan from time to time. I try to be flexible and nimble. The most adaptive and the most flexible of the species survive, right? Yep. Any environment. So don't be like the dinosaurs. You got to be flexible and you got to be adaptive when the market changes. So you got to give yourself some opportunity to make some pivots if you need to.
Yeah, and one of the greatest tools that you utilize and that you really work with our folks on this channel, and obviously folks across the world on, is the whole life insurance policy and implementing the infinite banking concept. We're not going to dive into it on this video too deeply, but we'll go ahead and drop that playlist for those of you that are watching that have not seen that. Highly recommend you taking a look at that. It's a phenomenal investment vehicle, particularly for volatile times like we're in right now. If you want more information about wealth strategies from MC and his team, or you have an interest in the whole life and the infinite banking concept, go ahead and email ninja@vipfinancialeducation.com. Include your first, your last name, and the best number to reach you in the body of the email, and Cashflow Ninja Conversation in the subject line, and someone from MC or his team will get back to you ASAP. MC, I know your time is valuable. We appreciate you coming on here. We'd like to bring you back on here in the next couple months and get updates from you. You've got great insight. Our audience always appreciates that. Guys, be sure to go out there and do your own due diligence. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe below. Ding that bell notification. That'll give you alerts as we continue to put these videos out here. We've got several that are coming out every single week that are going to be relevant in today's economic turmoil. Until next time, take care and make it a great day.